Why are we like this? Why do we have broken relationships all the time? Why do we fight with our partners all the time? What's wrong? It's not just you, it's just not your partner, or it's just not the other person. But my channel is about that. I help people who used to be like me, very unaware. It's me, Donna Blaze. Today I'm gonna share with you a continuation of what I vlogged the last time. It's called The Power of Not Reacting. My husband and I had a kind of epiphany last month. I said to him, you know what, we've known each other for a long time, probably almost 12 years, and still we trigger each other. And it has nothing to do with being with each other, or it has nothing to do with the other person in that moment. Because sometimes he snaps at me, sometimes I snap at him. But before our talk, no one, even me, was aware of it. But I told him, I have known you for a long time, but sometimes I don't understand why you snap at me until I ask you, why are you snapping at me? And then he tells me, I didn't have enough sleep. Or when I snap back at him, he's got that intelligence that it's either I have my period. That's the usual issue with women when we're in pain, whenever we're uncomfortable with our body. For example, pre-menopause or during menopause, we're a little bit emotional than normal. Like we are a little bit reactive than normal. That's what I'm saying. It takes a lot of emotional intelligence and awareness. By the way, when I say emotional intelligence or EQ, is so different from intellectual intelligence or IQ. They are not the same. So I have a vlog here about that, the difference between EQ and IQ. It doesn't necessarily mean that if you're the brightest in your class that you have emotional intelligence, because I know a lot of people who are so bright but doesn't have emotional intelligence, who are very reactive, who are very unaware of their own feelings. And if they are so unaware of their feelings, how much more to other people? Like if they don't understand themselves, how could they understand other people? Guys, in this world, for us to be able to have unity, we have to understand first the history of other people, or why they behave like that, what's their environment before, why they become like that. That's what you call emotional intelligence. And unfortunately for me, I've just discovered this during, before and after my therapy in my 40s. And most of us will probably be the same. Like, because of what? Internet. A lot of things in YouTube, for example, are for free. The therapist, the neuroscientist, the one who studies the brain, the psychiatrist or psychologist. There are lots of knowledge there for free. And so all we need to do is research. Why are we like this? Why? Why do we have broken relationships all the time? Why do we fight with our partners all the time? What's wrong? It's not just you, it's just not your partner, or it's just not the other person. But why? That's why my channel is about that. I help people who used to be like me, very unaware. Yesterday, I was talking to my best friend, and it pushed me into sharing this one because she said to me one time, we both got triggered about a situation when we were talking 2 months ago, I think. And then she said, oh, I stepped back from you because maybe you're having an issue. And she said she just want to withdraw a little bit from talking to me because maybe I'm having a trouble with pre-menopause. Anyhow, I felt the same with her because she's dealing with loss at the moment. So I said, okay, I'm not gonna talk to her for a little bit until she's, calm enough to talk. And so we were talking again. This is what she confessed to me, and I confessed it to her too. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of myself, and I'm proud of her that we both have awareness, that the other person is actually, or might actually be feeling something other than, being triggered at that moment. So this vlog is about that. What when we get triggered? Well, the most important thing, my tribe, is that if you have awareness about your moods, about why and how you're getting triggered or your triggers, you will actually be empathetic to other people's triggers. For example, the closest people in your life, your kids, your partner, your husband, your wife. So going back to my husband, every time nowadays that I snap at him or he snaps back at me, I always ask, why? What's the reason behind? Is this really what's going on? Or there's something going on aside from this moment now? For example, he had a really bad day in school, or I had a really shitty day. When I'm home, I bring the energy with me, like all these negative feelings, so I snap back. Not necessarily because of the person in front of me. I've observed this 2 years ago with my son. I feel sorry for him. I was diagnosed, guys, 2 years ago with anxiety. And my therapy never gave me medication. It's just breathing exercise, right? For those of you who doesn't know yet. Every time I have an anxiety attack, it's always my son. I shout at him. When I am physically, emotionally, and mentally drained, I snap back at him a lot. It's always him. What my husband used to do was get out of the house with my son. At that time, we didn't know that I have anxiety. And thank God for therapy that, I'm not that person anymore. And this is what I say about being aware of your mental health. When you're aware that you're becoming a different person, it's time to visit your doctor. You might have a mineral problem or just vitamin D deficiency like me. It actually affects your mood when you have deficiencies. And it has nothing to do with you. Sometimes this happens when you have imbalance in your body. Don't tag yourself as a bad person. That's why I said when you're aware and when you're concerned with your mental health, they call this mental health, the well-being, they're interconnected. A lot of countries, unfortunately, are not yet aware of this. But I'm so grateful that I had therapy, because when you have therapy, and I am also addicted to personal development, you understand other people and you understand yourself. You become a better human being. That's what I'm saying. Everything I learn, I share it here in YouTube or Facebook. It's so embarrassing to admit that I was like this dragon. When I have my anxiety attack, I become a different person. I cannot control it because I was unaware at that time. And for those of you who feels the same, it's okay as long as you seek help. Sometimes we need to lower down our ego, or if we are afraid to find out that something's wrong with us, or the stigma that people will judge you that you're crazy. When you're like me, I don't see it as you're being crazy. This happens normally with people like me. For example, I'm premenopausal, or people who has postpartum depression and just traumas in the past that has not been resolved. So symptoms like depression, symptoms like you're being reactive, it has something to do with medical conditions. And if you're educated enough, like me, I'm in the health industry, I know these things. So I do not judge. Don't think that all people are uneducated about health, because you don't need to be a healthcare worker to know these things. You just have to be curious. That's why sometimes lower your ego, that people will judge you. Guys, all of us have our own issues. We have our own trauma, little trauma and a big trauma. And sometimes what's little to you is big for me, and what's big trauma for me is a little trauma to you, because we feel differently. You will understand yourself. You can take care of your well-being, your mental health, for the sake of you and your family and your kids or people around you. You know what I mean? Our health, our well-being, our mental health is our own responsibility. It's your responsibility to be a better person, not to be toxic, not to dump your trauma, because trauma, guys, you can pass it on to your kids. Your kids don't deserve the trauma you had from your past, because if you pass your trauma to your kids and your kids are also unaware of these things, they will pass it to the next generation. This is called generational trauma. You know, I'm so proud of my best friend too, because she said to me yesterday, "Oh, I don't watch news anymore because it gives me anxiety." And that's the best way to do. Also with people who gives you anxiety, just don't talk to them. Or situations to prevent having anxiety, just to prevent having these negative feelings, just avoid the person or the situation, or avoid the news. Why would you expose yourself to something that's unhealthy for you? Why would you expose yourself with this negativity, like drama, for example, those who are, who can make you cry, and there's a lot of drama in the telenovela and stuff. I know I used to love these shows, so much drama, so much crying. But when I became educated with our mental health is our responsibility. So if you're triggered for the whole day, the worst thing you can do is turn on the TV and watch your telenovela, because it's like adding fire with fire. So what do I do instead of that? I do things like my passion. Editing videos. I like being creative. I like sewing. I like watching comedy. I like seeing dog videos, animal videos. These things make my vibration higher. So instead of me lowering my vibration, for example, watching horror films, fear is a lower vibration. So I don't watch horror flicks. I don't watch anything that makes me anxious, like this murder, serial killer themed movies, anything that's low vibe. I avoid it at all costs when I'm also in a low vibe. You need to help yourself thrive, to be in the higher vibration. Just like my best friend, she said, "I've been hiking in the mountains, that's why you can't reach me, or that's why I have been so busy. Oh, I have been this and that." She's been busy with her plants, with her dogs, because she's aware that whenever she's in a low vibration, what you need to do is to help herself be in the higher vibration. And also that's what I do to help myself. I don't get addicted or obsessed with things that makes me feel down. You know what I mean? So I hope also that now that you're aware, because I'm telling you what to do after you're aware. How do you make yourself in a higher vibration or high vibe? I post a lot of high vibe in my Facebook, because these times we are stressed, especially Filipinos. And when you think that your emotions are overwhelming, you just have to make yourself in a high vibe again, which means that if the news makes you feel very anxious and in a low vibe, just stop looking at your feeds or stop looking at the news, at least for how many hours. Because the last 2 days I have been obsessing, I have been in my phone for like 3 consecutive hours, because I'm so in the low vibe. We also have to be the helper of ourselves, guys. I hope you learned something from this vlog, and please share it to your friends and family, to your loved ones who you think need to know about awareness and how to find the higher vibe to help yourself with your mental health and your well-being in general. Light and love as always.